The charts have always been a playground for the more fertile imaginations in our society, and our next macaroonies are the biggest teasers in chart history.
I went in and made a #1 record.
Bill Drummond and Jimmy Cauty were basically sort of art punks in the 80s. They sort of hung out with the Teardrop Explodes, and they're all part of this sort of Liverpool scene. But they were the situationists. They were the ones that would come up with all of the just madcap ideas and just decide, let's go and do it, yeah.
For me, they're just taking the piss the whole time. You know, they just try these mad ideas and put it together, and they just worked.
Without caring if you got the joke or not, the two musos picked up on the current trend of sampling in dance music, took it to its extreme, and came up with a simple formula for having hit records.
What there was the Gary Glitter drum beat, and then we put over the Doctor Who riff over the top of that, loads of crowd noise. Bob your uncle.
It could have been anything, really. It could have been Charlie's Angels and David Bowie, or it could have been Metal Mickey and The Sweeps or something, and it still would have worked.
Bill and Jimmy then wrote The Manual, a step-by-step guide of how to take bits of other people's music and turn it into a #1 all of your own.
Drummond, Cauty and Waterman, although you'd never think they're in the same ballpark, I think they are, and I think Waterman's got that formula in his head. He just does it in an incredibly commercial way, whereas Bill and Jimmy were doing it in a really playful way.
Bill Drummond is a very, very clever marketing guy. He may think he's alternative, and he was a friend to the journalists, and all the journalists bought it, but at the end of the day, there was nothing between, there was no difference between that and Kylie Minogue, in any shape or form.
KLF is gonna rock you. With 2 #1s and 4 top 5 hits, the KLF announced in their own inimitable style that they were leaving the music industry at the very height of their popularity.
All right, for the first time ever on the Brits, after thousands of votes had been cast, congratulations, the KLF.
They both announced, wouldn't it be a great idea to spray the audience with pig's blood? And I just went, you're joking, aren't you?
This is television freedom.
We managed to convince them not to do it, thank God. And they just had an M16 instead and fired that at the crowd.
Once you've done one prank, go and do something else. It's just about the ideas, really, and grabbing people's attention and keeping it long enough to have a #1, and then going off and doing something else.
While record executives breathed a sigh of relief, the art world got worried as Bill and Jimmy turned their attention to auctioning large sums of money nailed to picture frames and upsetting as many other artists as possible.
Just before being picked as Best Artist of the Year, with a cheque for £20,000 to back it up, Rachel Whiteread learnt that she had also been singled out as Worst Artist of the Year in an alternative award funded to the tune of 40 grand by the K Foundation, set up by the former rock group KLF as a bizarre and pricey comment on the state of contemporary art.
Can we hear it for Rachel? Bill and Jimmy then went one step further. They took £1 million from their bank account, flew to a remote part of Scotland and burnt it.
I went along with them as a witness. I didn't have to write an article about it. They didn't tell me to write an article. I wasn't working for them. I did write an article for the Observer, but I was put in a position why would anyone believe me? I was their mate. I had been working with them. It almost been designed not to be believed.
Then they made this film of KLF burning £1 million, and they took it round and showed it to people and just sort of so people could ask them questions. And of course the question they most got asked was, because there's so many charities they could have given it to, why were they such a pair of twats?
They've got to go out and do something that almost shocks themselves, I think. They've got families, they've got children, and it's not something I'd do. I don't think who would.
Deciding this was an expensive occupation, they gave up chucking money away. But some of their statements on art will never be forgotten.
You could get arty about it, and you could call them situationalist kind of manipulators of turning the machine upon itself and all of that sort of stuff. None of that really matters. In the end, they got Tammy Wynette to sing about someone who drives an ice cream van.
They're justified and they're ancient, and they drive an ice cream van. They're justified and they're ancient, with still no mastery plan.
You know, you should never take pop music too seriously. And they took it seriously and grinned at it at the same time, which is kind of a fantastic combination.
Bill Drummond's a very bright guy, and Jimmy is a superbly talented kid. So between them, they knew exactly what they were doing.
Completely mad, genius, very funny, and I miss them. And I think pop music misses them.